Okay, so welcome back, everybody. This is the bonus evening, day 4, to talk about publishing tips and all the faux pas with different publishing companies, what to look out for, how to self-publish, and what that really means, okay? So I want to welcome everybody back, and as other people come in, we'll just add them in. So I want to ask you guys a question in a bit. Oh, here's Sharon. And then I'm also going to go over some things that we didn't get to discuss yesterday. And we're also going to go through all your questions that you have about publishing specifically. Okay. So come on and say hi. And did you post your little paragraph in the group for people to check and see? Because I can't go in there. I know Jenny was in there today trying to help, I think, Laura. So, you know,
Laura and Pam.
And Pam. Okay, yeah, Pam's trying to get in too. So when you post your work in these communities, this is how we work in the group coaching too, all right? It's tremendously helpful because you don't always want one perspective. And I could read what's going on in there, but I can't comment while I'm blocked. So when I saw Jenny post on Laura's, you know, she really nailed what needed to be done. You know, like she really saw, you know, how to help you and explain to you what has to happen at this stage. Because when you're channeling information, it's just free flowing and it's not in any structure. So I think she did a really, you know, great job in responding to you with that. And, you know, once you get involved in some coaching and stuff, this is how we work with you. So Hamadou, did you put your information in the group for us to look at? I didn't see it.
No, because of the issue, you know, I thought that it was completely out of, you know, control. So I was not, you know, how to say, thinking of, you know, putting it in the group, you know.
Okay, well, if you want help and feedback, that's the way to do it, so that you get different perspectives from people, because you don't want just one perspective. You know, you want to see how other people see your writing, your ideas, what things they can come up with. So like even when, you know, Jenny responded to Laura, when I get a chance, I can go in there and respond too, or you can, or Angela, or Sharon, or anybody. Because you want to know what readers think of the way you're writing, your topic of writing. Do they have questions about something that is vague? This is all important when you're writing your book, okay? You know, I just had a gentleman reach out to me, Robin Magadino, told me, you're going to hear from this guy, blah, blah, blah. And he did. He called me up, and he's in real estate, and he wants to write a book for appraisers. And he said, would you take a look at it? And so he wanted to send me the whole book. I said, no, one chapter, one chapter. Because people don't realize the time, effort, and energy that goes into evaluating something. And while he had good ideas, what I had told him before I even saw it, I says, understand this. I'm going to look at it like the person that knows nothing about appraisals, and I really don't. So if it doesn't make sense to me, it's not going to make sense to the reader. And that's why we work as a community. It's like having all these different, you know, additional assistants to come in and say, can you explain that more? I don't understand this. Or they start asking you more specific questions. Or if you're writing more fiction, you know, that's where Jenny will come in sometimes too, about character development, you know, what to do and, you know, how to present them. So it's like you're getting this team. So don't just count on me. You got a team with everybody. I mean, even Laura can go and comment on somebody else's and say, this is what I see or feel. That's how it works, okay? Because you all have a gift to bring, okay?
But I put my characters, you know, on the group, you know.
I didn't see your story, though, that you were talking about yesterday that was very hard to understand on Zoom. So that's why I had asked, put it in there so we all can help you. Okay?
Okay. If not, I put the character development, you know.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I didn't see it. I didn't see
really? It. Okay. I can repeat it.
Did anybody see it in there?
No.
No? Okay. All right. So
okay,
anyway.
I will try it again.
Okay. Hey, Sharon, you say hi? You there? Are you packing? I know her internet's crazy. Anyway, so a couple announcements. We actually had 2 people yesterday sign up, Marla and Pamela. So we're excited. Pamela's doing it again. So this is how important she finds the program, you know. And Marla is doing it, and they're both excited, and I've already chatted with them. And Sharon, she can't come on, but we're celebrating Sharon too, because she just said yes. So this is exciting because we get to work with all these wonderful ideas and these great people. And Jenny's coming on board again this year. So everybody that signs up in the group coaching program is also going to get 2 sessions with her on character development. One will be in the beginning to help you create the main character, you know, the avatar that we talked about, so that it comes across clear. And then later on, she'll look at how you're creating it in one of your chapters and give you some ideas. Okay. So you get 2 sessions with her free. Okay. As part of this too. I threw that in just today. I said to her, how do you feel about this? Because she's helped me in the past and she does really well with that. And then if anybody wants extra sessions, they could always, you know, you could always pay for them. Okay. But that'll help you guys tremendously in that department. The other thing is I want to mention, I didn't mention last night because we were running out of time, is there's also the opportunity to write a short story in a collaborative book. And you guys have seen some of them that, and I've mentioned some that we have done. And this is where Angela started, okay? What does a collaborative book do and how does it benefit you and others, okay? Not everybody's ready to jump into a full book, all right? But they want to get their feet wet and they have an idea. Like Hamadou, when you were talking to me about the women in Africa and you related to Angela's story, that would be ideal for you to do a short story on that, okay? And so a short story in a collaborative book is very different than doing a novel, okay? You do get 2 coaching sessions with me. It happens fast. It doesn't take long because it's only 2,000 words, okay? But you get a full featured page of yourself, your bio and everything. So it's like promotion. It's like a 3D business card. It's a way to show people that you've put some message out there that you want the world to know about, okay? It's more affordable to do than a full-blown book, okay? So typically we've done some longer stories and sometimes that's hard for people in the beginning, you know, the amount of words. So we've cut it back to 2,000 words because that's actually a good amount of words to get your point across in a chapter, right? But when you do it in a short story, you have to really focus. You can't put a lot of extra words. So if you have any of the collaborative books and you start reading some of the stories, you'll see where some people may have struggled with that, but where some people like really got it down once they worked with us, okay? And so a lot of times people want to speak about their topics. And the first thing that people will ask you, and this is how we started this book, actually, a bunch of us were in a speakers convention. They ask you, are you an author? Nope. They want you to be an author, you know, and this is how Angela got started even speaking in her church because she had her story in here. So if you look and aspire to being a public speaker, this is a stepping stone to get there, okay, to be in here. You get to work with all these other people too, okay? You get to meet all these great people on Zooms and stuff and collaborate. Now, here's Blondie. Let's get her in here. Now, with a collaborative book, it's different than a solo book because if you remember yesterday, I talked about solo books and me helping any of the people publish it. I don't get involved in royalties. You have your own account. We can't do that with this because we can't make 13 accounts. You can only make 1. So basically it gets published under me and there are no royalty because how would you split a couple of dollars between everybody? Because unless you're selling tons of books. But what we do is encourage the authors, which Angela has done and Jenny has done, is to buy the books at the cost price, which is usually a couple of dollars, and go sell them and hand them out as your business card. Or people want you to speak, then, you know, and they ask you, have you written anything? You're an author. At least you have something to show them of your skill sets, okay? And you can make your money through selling the books yourself. So when you want to order a bunch at the the cost price. There's no upcharge on it. It's the price of Amazon. You just tell me, and you pay me to order your books and ship them to you, okay? And then you make money off your own books. So it just works a little bit differently, but it's a nice way. Hi, Blondie. It's a nice way to introduce yourself into the writing world if you're not ready to do a full book, or if you don't have the money to work with editors and stuff and all of that. So normally it would be $8.95 to do 2,000 pages, work with the editor. We have a graphic designer that it covers. So basically the fee is covering all of that, okay? And like I said, you'll get 2 coaching sessions with me, but I'm doing it for $5.95. And we're looking at publishing a collaborative book towards the end of this year, okay? So I just started the promotion on all of this. I've been meaning to do it, but too many things on the plate sometimes, plus I had to move in between everything. So this is an opportunity where you can tell your story in 2,000 words. If it goes over, there's a small fee for the overage because the designer she charges me for every page she's got to do. But it's another opportunity for you. So if you want to be in the collaborative book, you can reach out to me to find out more. And that special price is $5.95. Okay. All right. Then we're going to later on today announce a winner that has been participating, showing up and everything for the 2 coaching sessions with me, which include a full evaluation of 2 chapters and then a one-on-one Zoom with you. Okay, so let's find out where you are in your writing world. So I have a poll up here. How long have you been writing your story? You have not started, you're half done, you're almost done, or you're ready to publish. So go click one and we'll launch the poll. Are you able to vote on it? Oh, there it goes. Okay. So we got some people half done. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. And Sharon's going to get going. So we're going to big congratulations to Sharon, who's here today, because she said yes this afternoon and she's joining the group coaching. And just as a reminder, if any of you want to do that price that I'm offering is only good for a few days. Okay, then it goes up to the $25.95. So for $15.95, you get all the group benefits. Okay, you get 100 days. So the first 10 days are prepping you, getting you all organized and all. And then you've got 90 days. Ooh, what's that coming up for? 90 days to work on your manuscript and stay on point. So, hi, Robin. So when we calculate the time in your words, you know that it's doable. It's absolutely doable. So if you want some guidance and focus to do that, that's what we're going to be doing in those 90 days, total of 100 days. So we're going to get all the logistics out in the first days. And then you're going to be in a group. Okay, we might even keep this same group, but take out the people that don't participate because there's a lot of information already in here for you guys. And then you'll be posting in there, you'll be asking questions. I will always be putting daily tips and resources for you along the way. You're going to get a total of 16 hours of webinar training. So there's 8 webinar trainings and you're going to get 16 hours. You get a free consultation the minute you sign up. So we arrange that. You get 2 sessions that I threw in today with Jenny for character development. So that's an extra bonus. You get the publishing webinar, a full webinar on that to help you walk through the process if you want to do your self-publishing. Like tonight, I can't teach you everything, but I can answer questions and give you some ideas. But when you're in the group coaching, I will go through all that. And then if you decide you don't want to do that, then you can work with me or whoever you want. That's totally up to you. And God, I can't remember all the stuff was in there. Jenny, do you got that list of things that was on there that I sent you today? Your audio's not on. But anyway, so yeah, so it's a big package. And normally I charge $25.95 and I'm offering it just for these few days for $15.95. And it's basically 3 payments. It's your deposit and 2 payments after that. I am not going to offer this. If anybody's waiting to do it at another time, I am not offering it this low with all those bonuses, because anybody that knows anything about the work that goes into this and everything you're being given, it's time, energy, and a lot of coaching, and you're going to get a lot of coaching. And Angela's been in the program, and Jenny has. Robin's done personal coaching with me, and Pamela's coming back to do it again because, you know, she had to take a sabbatical and she wants to get re-inspired, and it also helps keep you on task. So any questions about that before we get into the publishing aspects? Anybody? Okay. All right. So if you decide to do it, just get in touch with me before April 3rd. Okay. Because then we're going to get started with those first 10 days. And by mid-April, we should have everybody's, you know, getting set up so that in May, we start moving along. So May, June, July, by the end of July, you could have your manuscript completed. Hear that, Sharon? So Sharon's been excited, and we're excited to have her on board. So let's talk publishing. What's your first question about publishing? Ask me. No questions about publishing? Everybody, I can go home now. I don't have to do anything. What's your first question about publishing?
Who designs the book cover?
Okay. So we got that as a question. What other questions you guys have?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Is there any place to publish or Amazon?
I'm sorry, you cut out, Robin.
Is there any place to publish the book or have it a print on demand service besides Amazon?
Okay, we'll cover that tonight too. It's on my list. Laura?
I had posted it in the group about, is it, because I know like when you do it on Amazon, they give you a number for the book, but do you do like copywriting, or how much really in depth you go with that?
Okay, we'll cover that too. Anybody else? Amadou, you have a question?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Do you have any questions about publishing?
Not for the time being. Not for the time.
Okay, okay. So typically people really don't know what it involves. And, you know, I'm in a lot of writers group, and one of the things that kind of drives me nuts, and Bondi, you can jump in on this because I know you do some self-publishing too, is when people say, don't pay for publishing. Well, you don't really technically have to pay for publishing, but you do have to pay for the services that create your book. Okay. Now, if you're great at editing, and you're great at design and layout, and you're great at cover designs and all of that, then technically maybe you don't have to pay very much, but it's all your time. So when people say, don't pay for publishing and stay away from hybrid publishers and blah, 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 I don't even know where some of these names came from, to be honest with you. But I don't fit into the categories when they start talking about all that stuff and bashing the independent publisher. And Blondie, I would love for you to chime in, because you do have some experience with this in your own background, okay? And maybe you can share some of the things that you've seen come up as well, and some of the stuff that, you know, you've worked through. So feel free to jump in, okay?
Well, you're going to pay for publishing regardless. If you go to a traditional publisher, you have to prepare a book proposal. If you don't know how to do a
Right,
book
right.
proposal,
But what I mean is like they're discouraging people in these groups not to work with anybody, basically, and do it yourself. Like, don't pay for publishing. But you're right. There's going to be some payment somewhere along the way, and we're going to go over some of that. So I don't know, seen people saying that, like, don't pay for publishing, and it's like, really?
I've seen that. Or
Yeah.
get it done for free.
Yeah.
And they see Amazon as free. And sometimes what happens with the first-time authors is they don't want to spend the money to make it better.
Exactly.
And what often happens is these guys will print whatever you give them. So if you don't take the time and spend the money to get it ready, then you're going to get back something that's going to embarrass you.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's what we're going to address tonight, because you don't want that. You put a lot of effort and energy, and like Robin, 5 years into writing a book, you don't want a piece of crap out there. And trust me, even working with professionals, because I'm going to be transparent, we have our issues and problems. Okay. Robin and I have been working on this book with 2 different designers. The first designer just dropped the ball without saying anything. And she left it a complete disaster and mess, complete disaster. And when I found somebody else, and then she even went to look at the cover, she said, can I show you something? And she showed me what designers do and the mess that was behind that. So we actually redesigned Robin's cover the way she really wanted it anyway. So that was good. The layout, we all had a problem with and even the designer couldn't figure out what this woman did. It's almost like she put some kind of glitch in it that we couldn't correct things. Now, 95,000 words, we don't want to have to write from the very beginning. So you have to understand that, you know, it happens to the best of us. It happens in traditional publishing that these glitches show up. But the difference is, versus like Blondie was saying, you know, people who put it out there, they don't care. I was part of a collaborative book years ago. Oh my God, I don't even know the name of the book. I don't want to know the name of the book. I was so embarrassed. So what they did is they wanted to record our stories and they were going to have a transcriber, but I don't know who transcribed, because nothing was correct and nobody edited anything. And all of us got back to this girl, you know, that put this together. We were upset. That's our name on it, you know? And she wouldn't respond to any of us. And let me tell you something, we paid about $1,200 to get into that book. $1,200 for a short story in that book. So you got to be careful. So like in Robin's case with the things that came up, I said to her, you know, I'm going to absorb the cost with this new designer for the layout, because you've already paid me. You trusted me. You know, I trusted the designer I had. I cannot in integrity make you pay for a new designer. And yet she was so gracious and she offered to, but I said no. She did pay for her cover because she wanted a certain way, and that didn't cost as much as the rest of it. But this is what you want to find, people you can work with that live in integrity. And it doesn't mean a traditional publisher lives in integrity either, because I'm going to share some stories and why I got involved in this end of things. How much should one budget to get published? It's okay. We're going to cover all of that because there are different ways and different things. Okay. So when I first started my journey, and I had no intention of writing a book. I basically wrote it for the people that wanted it, my students. And I found out about a company called Balboa Press. Has anybody heard of Balboa Press? Okay, so it's associated, or we thought it was associated with Hay House, which was Louise Hay's company, you know, for books that were around healing and spirituality and things like that. That's how they presented themselves, okay? So you get excited because, you know, oh, you're going to get a publishing package. They charge for those publishing packages, okay? They charge big bucks. And this was quite a while ago. So, you know, I'm all excited that, you know, my book is going to get published with them. But I had a professional editor and I had a professional designer who put everything together. They would not even give me a credit for what these people did. I still had to pay the full price. So if you were to come to me and it was professionally done, then guess what? Why would I charge you for that? I would charge you for the services you need. But I was excited. I was naive. I didn't know how to negotiate things. Okay. So anyway, they said, no, this is the price. All right. So then I said, well, do you do anything for us with marketing and promotion? And they're like, well, you could pay X amount of dollars, thousands of dollars for all of that. Well, I get that because that's a different business. But they threw me a few bookmarks. Isn't that nice of them? You can go print bookmarks for $30, you know? So anyway, the thing is, I did not read the fine print because I was excited about publishing a book. They take the royalties. I have no control over my book. And what really shocks me is that when you're publishing a book, and I'll go over this a little bit more later, and there's categories to put your book in, There are many categories that you are allowed to put your book in, like through Amazon, okay? Even Barnes and Noble has up to 5. Amazon has up to 10. They have me in one category. This is a professional publishing company. They do nothing at all to fix it. I can't fix it. They have the rights to my book. If I want to republish it in my own thing, I have to change things. At this point, I surrendered it and I'm moving forward. I had to fight for royalties. They said, your book is not selling. I said, really? Every class I hold, they're buying it on Amazon because Amazon was cheaper for them to buy it that way than for me to buy the so-called discounted books from them, because you had to buy huge quantities in order to get a discount. I didn't need that much. So check it off, not going to do it anymore. All right. Then I decided a couple of years later, I'll self-publish. I heard all about this self-publishing thing. Well, I already had a designer that's amazing, and I had an editor. So I was already doing good. And then we went to publish. Well, that's great. We could figure all that out. The girl knew how to do it. She worked with other authors before. But what we didn't know, that you're in a sea of 22 million people or more. How do you get visibility? I didn't know back then about all the ins and outs of competitive analysis, of categories, all that, but I learned. So just in the past couple of years, I went and took my book from the sea and brought it up to like the surface in a sense, you know, but I'm not focusing on that one either, because I'm focusing now on everybody else. So these are things you don't realize when you're publishing a book. These are all the things you can come up with. Now, are there different ways to publish? Yes. Different platforms to publish? Absolutely. So let's start with the platforms, because Robin, you asked, is there any other print on demand? Because a lot of people don't even want to support Amazon anymore for a lot of different personal reasons, okay? Barnes and Noble is one, okay? They print on demand. Ingram Spark prints on demand. Lulu prints on demand, you know, so there are a lot of them out there. But then you got to look at Amazon doesn't take a royalty. Ingram Spark has a small startup fee, but Lulu is kind of like a hay house. They want to get involved in your book, you know? So you just have to research the different ones, you know, that will print. I stick with obviously Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Ingram Spark. Those are the 3. Now, Vervante will also publish your books on those platforms out there and do print on demand. But Vervante's books, and I've done my, where is it? I moved it. The one that, oh, this one. Okay, the journal, the intentional journal. I published this through Vervante. The quality of the pages are thick. The colors are bold. They do spiral bound. They're expensive. They're very expensive. However, for me, I thought, let me give it a shot and see if it's worth it, because I wasn't so concerned about them putting it on like Amazon and stuff, even though they do. I just wanted to have this basically to give, you know, to students or something, like at the retreat, I gave everybody one, you know, things like that. The quality is very good. So if you're doing more like a journal or a workbook or something, it's a very good quality. They also create cards. They do all different things. They're not the fastest in replying or getting you set up. They're a little bit slower, but I did that all myself. I did the art in there. I did the layout. I did everything. And I did it on Canva. And then I converted it to the way they needed it, and they printed it. I had to commit to X amount of books. I believe it was 50 in order to get the basic discount. And that's what I did. Make sense, Robin? Okay. So the thing with, you know, all of these companies, they're going to make money off your book. They are very slow. Yes, they are. They're all making money off your book because they're paying the printing cost. So when you're pricing your book, and let's say, I'll just use round numbers. Let's say you're doing $15 for a book, okay? And you think you're going to make $15 off your book when someone buys it. No, that's not how it works, okay? They get a percentage and the printing costs. So you come out with whatever that percentage is, depending on how you set it up. It could be 60%, 50%, 40, it just depends on who you're going with, okay? So you don't make that full amount because you're basically, think of it as you're taking your book to a printer, they're printing it on demand for you, and that's what you're paying for. So Amazon was genius when they decided to add that to everything else, you know? Their quality of their book is not always the best, to be honest with you. Barnes & Noble's quality is a little better. Yes, I've heard of draft to digital. That seems to be something new everybody's talking about, but I haven't had a chance to look into it, to be honest with you. Did you look into it, Robin?
I just looked at it today and it appears that they have no upfront costs, but you have to give them the manuscript in their form, in the form you want.
Right, right.
But they have the other services if you want, you know, editing
Right.
and whatnot. And they charge, but aside from that, if you get a printed book, they charge you 10% and they will ship it to bookstores who charge 30 or more percent. So you would get, you know, 60% or so, you know,
Mhm.
55 to 60% of your book price value. So
Yeah, I've seen it popping up all over the place lately. I just haven't had a chance to look at it. Yeah. Blondie, are you familiar with it?
I'm sorry, familiar with which company?
Draft to digital, it seems to be a new one that kind of popped up.
No, very new.
Yeah, I've seen it all over the place. But yeah, there's tons of companies popping up. But like you said, they're basically a platform to print. If you want services, then you're going to pay for services, just like with me. I don't print books, but I use the platforms that you want to print the books, okay? My main thing is the story development and the editing. That's my main thing, is to focus on creating the best possible story that you can have to put out there that reads well. And then with the designers I work with, the new designer, and then I still tap into my old designer. I wish she would come back. She's amazing, but she has a different job now. She kind of got out of it after 35 years, but she is amazing. But if we wanted to pay her well, she'd come back for like a book here and there. And the reason I say she's amazing, because her interiors and her covers, I mean, the girl is just brilliant. But this new gal that I'm working with too, she's also very methodical with everything, like her layouts and all. So she reminds me of the other gal I've been working with. So when you're doing it on your own, and trust me, I have tried, I put together a simple cookbook, okay, for health coaching. And I decided not to use the gal Candy because I didn't want to bother her, you know, and then she's always trying to be nice to me and not get paid enough. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not fair. So I decided to do it myself with photos and everything. After 80 tries and pulling my hair out, I almost gave up. And then I just said, you know, progress, not perfection, right, Robin? And I submitted it. The cover is beautiful. The interior does not meet my standards, but I basically did it at the time for my health coaching clients. They love it. They don't care that it's not laid out perfectly. They love the colored pictures inside. They love the big font that they could read everything clear when they're looking at the recipes. But it's still in my, like, if I was doing it for somebody, no, it's not up to the standards I would like. Okay. So you just have to decide what your standard is, what you're willing to settle for, you know. But if you're in a professional environment and you want to make sure that it looks that way, then you want good quality people behind you. You really do. You don't want to do half, you know what. There's another company that just came out that the guy that developed this new program, which I started to play around with just to see, to be able to tell my clients, is called Atticus, Atticus. Atticus is developed by the same guy who has Kindlepreneur, and he has all the software for publishers and stuff to do searches and analysis and everything. So Atticus is actually a template to lay out your ebook or your print book, and they have tons of different templates, and they're working along with a company called BookBrush, which has all the images. Now, I went in to play with it, and if I probably didn't sit there and try to do it fast, I would have said, hey, it's really easy. But of course, I was like in a rush. I wanted to see, I was so excited. I was following them along a quick tutorial. And in essence, it was easy, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to look in 1 hour. Well, guess what? You don't lay out a format in an hour, okay? So I think because they just started it like last fall, I think it's going to be a really good tool for people that are okay. Shh, no playtime. Okay with typing up their own stuff in these formats. I think it will save them some money if they're good at following instructions and templates, and they have beautiful designs in there. Hi, Pamela. And so it can save you a lot of money because the designer is a big fee. Okay, so when you say, how much do I put aside to budget for publishing? It depends on what you're choosing, what you can do, what you need somebody else to do. All right. And the pricing for someone that does the layout, the formatting and layout, depends on the size of your book. And then it also depends on, do you want anything custom in it? So if you're just fine with something plain and you put your own together, then guess what? It's fine. But if you're like me and I like little page dividers, or I like a little something above the chapter or whatever, well, that's custom design. So if you're able to figure that out in Atticus, which they do have that in there, and you're okay following along the instructions, then I think it's going to be a great tool for people looking to save on their budget. But then you have to ask yourself, do you have the time to do it? Because layout doesn't happen in 1 hour like I was trying to do one chapter in there, okay? So that's another option, all right? So I prefer to work with professionals. I prefer to take the stress and the load off the author, because you need to concentrate on your book, and we concentrate on the rest of things for you. So you asked about cover design. Who does cover design? Well, you can do it yourself. There's programs to do it. But guess what? Do you know how to do a spine besides the front cover and the back cover? Do you know how to upload it into these programs? You may not. Do you know how to do the dimensions? And do you know how to change the digital color when you find out, when you do your proof book, that the color didn't transfer from digital to print the way you thought? So see, we think it's easy until we get the final result and we're like, well, how do I fix it? Well, I don't know. That's why I hire people, okay? Now, if you want to use, Amazon has some digital graphics, you can use theirs. Like when I did my health coaching book, I used one of theirs and it's beautiful, but it's not unique. Anybody can use it, all right? But if you want something custom and unique, then I highly suggest you work with a graphic designer, and that's what I do. Like we're working with a gentleman right now who's doing his manual, for Thai massage. And we had to reformat everything that he had and just redesign his cover a little bit, you know, and take out some things that were very distracting. Because when people are doing their own stuff, they really don't know what they're doing. And it doesn't present professionally. So he was like, oh, wow, that looks really good, you know? So it just depends. Also, with an experienced cover designer versus the one I found out what she was doing with these covers. Oh my God. Yeah, Jenny went through it too. You know, a graphic designer, if you're making a custom cover, there's layers and layers and layers of designs that literally get stacked upon everything, okay? If they don't know how to do that well, your image is going to print, you know, it's not going to be clear. And if you look close, you'll start to see all the little errors they're making because they don't know how to do custom work. That's what it comes down to, okay? So you can pull an image from Amazon and use a free one, so it doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to work with a designer, which I recommend so that your cover is unique, and I'll tell you why you want unique, then yes, we can do that. You can bring your own designer in. But when I'm working with my authors, I like to have my team because I communicate with them. I've worked with a designer that just kind of sends me things and it's really hard to work with them. You know, it's better to have a team that works along with you and knows your standards and all of that. So what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought for a second. Any questions about cover designs? Now you may ask, what does it cost to design a cover? Okay, It could be anywhere from around 250 to 500. The more custom it is, it's usually on the higher end. You will see on Facebook people doing them for $50 because they're just taking, oh, I know what I wanted to say. They're just taking a basic graphic. That's it, that anybody can use. You want yours to pop representing you because you have a little icon on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And if you see somebody's book has got the same as you, well, you don't really want that. Like there's a gal I know in Florida. She published a book 2.5 years ago when I lived down there, and I was excited for her. And I went to one of her network meetings, and her and I have a similar background, even with health coaching and all. And so I was excited to see her book, and it was about half the size of this, just to give you perspective. Okay, so this book is 179 pages. It was about half the size. The image on it was an image that I used years ago for some promotional stuff for health coaching. They gave her a generic image, and immediately my skin began to crawl. And then I wanted to buy the book from her, and she said it was $20. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, literally, it's a manual. I handed her the $20. I opened it up, and it was a mess, a complete mess inside. There were no margins. Everything was straight to the edge. Nothing was separated. It was hard to read. I immediately, without even reading, I saw errors. And then I flipped to the back, and they had a bunch of her photos. They didn't even put it in a nice collage. They just kind of plopped them there. And the quality of the print color was horrible. So I think I wore it on my face, but I tried not to, but I tend to be, very animated. And so then I said, Drew, can I ask you, how much did you pay to publish this? What do you guys think she paid to publish a book of about 100 pages? Take a guess. Yes. Yes, Hamadou. $15,000. I nearly fell on the floor. $15,000. I've never charged anybody $15,000, and I would never put a book out like that. And she said, but it's okay. It's okay. I said, it's okay. She goes, yeah, I did a contract for 2 books and got the second one at a discount. So I want to know how these people market and get the sales, because she keeps promoting them in her networking group. And I've seen them post their books in the group, and the designs in it, they're not well done. So this is the other thing, you get excited. I give a lot of these books away to you guys, like on prizes and stuff, or when I did the conference, I was giving books away like crazy. I want you to see the quality. I don't want you to just come with me because you say, oh yeah, you sound really good. No, I want you to see the quality of the book. I want you to look inside. Will there be, typos every once in a while? That happens in every book, because we tend to, after a while, don't see it. So to just recap, a cover design at the basic level is about $250 up to $500 for a graphic designer that's professional, okay? Layout is going to vary. Layout can be typically somewhere around $1,500 and up, depending on what you want in your book and how thick your book is. So we'll just kind of give it an average here. I'll just start calculating some things here. Now, the big part is the editing, and we talked about that the other day. Before you publish, your book has to have multiple edits. First, the developmental editing, which is where I work with you guys. Then you have the copy editing and the line editing, which is Patty, and then the proofreading at the end, we all do, including Patty. So editing can literally run you $5,000, literally, okay? And you go, I'll just edit it myself. Trust me. There is not one book chapter that people have sent me that is perfectly edited, even if they think it is, okay? There's always room for improvement. And most people, even this guy that sent me his chapter today, oh my God, Patty would have laughed with all the that's in his wording, and it didn't flow, and his sentences were not structured well, and he's a professional. So someone like him should not be putting a book out like that. he needs help. Okay. So now you sit and say, I can't afford to do a book because we're already up to about $7,000. Well, this is why you budget for things and you decide, what do you want? Can it be less? Yes, it can be less. It just depends on what your needs are. All right. Can it be around $5,000? Yes. All right. So this is why with the group coaching, it's really a good way to start, because if you were to do, and a lot of people do this with me, if you were to do one-on-one coaching with me for 3 months, it's about $5,000, but I'm working with you one-on-one every single week. Okay. You do group coaching and you jump in on the $1,595, you're still going to get some personal coaching with me, group coaching with me, and 3 months of learning how to edit your book so that someone like Patty is not spending a ton of time. And I've helped you and you've helped yourself and you've used Pro Writing Aid, and that price can drop down a lot. That's why when I send things to Patty, she's like, sometimes she's shocked with all the errors. I said, oh, you should have seen it before. Okay. And then other times she's like, wow, this one's really clean, because that person was coachable and listened. All right. Yeah, you waving your hand. So what we do here versus, working with someone like Balboa, that's more traditional, I don't take royalties. All right. And those that have worked with me know this. I will help you write your book, help you get the editing you need, get you the designer. And then I don't charge extra for, and you guys know this. I mean, Pamela even said it last night. I'm not nickel and diming you for every phone call that I sit and talk to you about something. I train you how to use the back office of KDP, which is Amazon's back office, because most people don't know what to do once they're in there. They don't know how to do a sponsored ad. They don't know how to change their price. She's like that, And Jenny needed help creating a website, and I took her through the process. Okay.
I needed help with everything. And I can tell you, Gloria was there for it all.
So I had to learn these things on my own. And if you're capable of doing that, then you can do a lot of this yourself. Okay. Any questions as we go on at this point? So why would you self-publish? Meaning you're going to do everything yourself. Why would you do it? Well, you probably have the skill sets. You're technological. You can figure out some of these templates, like even Ingram Spark has a template to do your outline. Amazon, KDP, it's called, has a template. They all have templates for you to go in and create your document. Do you know how to use them? Do you have the patience? Are you a good typer? All this goes, into factor. That's why when I did my simple little health coaching book, and I am pretty savvy technologically, and I type very fast, but everything with photos and stuff, oh my God, things were disappearing. It was misaligning when I had to convert it. So you have to ask yourself, if you're spending X amount of time in your life to do this, is it worth it to pay somebody? Me? Yes, it's worth it. And that's what I do now. I pay people for my work. Okay. Do I not want to? Yeah, I don't want to. What about publishing versus selling? What do you mean by that? Amadou, what do you mean?
Yes, just for example, if there is a publisher, is it included in these services, to help, sell the books?
No, nobody has to help you sell anything. That's marketing and promotion. Some companies, they have packages for that. And they'll charge you for doing that, but they don't do it as much. Like if you were lucky enough to get an agent, do a query letter, all these different things, and get an old-fashioned publisher that pays you, pays you to publish your book, like all the famous people out there, then of course they're going to market it, because maybe they paid you in advance of $10,000 or $15,000 or something, right? They have the rights to the movie, they have the rights to a lot of different things, and maybe you get 1% on that, and you're okay with that. And yeah, they're going to go, hopefully go sell it for you because they want to make their investment back. Now, Angela went with a publisher that wanted her rights to movies and everything else. Angela, have they done anything to sell your book?
All right. No, they have not done anything. I'm just featured on their homepage on Facebook, and I'm in their library of books.
That's it. They do nothing. So what I do, all right, is when you get ready to launch your book, I teach you how to launch your book, how to get a launch team, how to do the social networking, how to do reviews. I don't have to do this. I could be doing a separate package, and at some point I will be, okay? Because people are like, you're crazy. You're doing all this for free. And I am crazy, okay? So I make beautiful banners with the review on it, with your photo, with your book that you and your launch team can put all over social media so your word gets out. But you know what happens? Most authors stop after those first 2 days. They think, okay, the book is out there. No, you have to consistently put your message out there, and it's not selling. If you try to sell your book, you will not sell your book. And what I mean by that is if you put your link on Facebook or wherever to sell your book and people don't know why they should buy your book, they don't know anything about you, they're not going to buy it. Maybe a friend will, but that's about it. So Zing, who's been on the road, I would have loved to have had her, but she's been traveling because she is networking across the country with her book. She loves her book. She loves the idea of her book. She's happy connecting with people that love fairy wisdom, and they love her. So she's been in 3 states since February, and her book is going out into all these stores, and people that she meets are buying them at festivals she's participating, and she's putting herself out there. Authors have to do that. You have to get involved in conferences, get speaking engagements would be perfect, especially for you, Hamadou, because then you could sell your books that way. Never rely on somebody else to sell you. It just doesn't happen. Now, Kathy, who wrote Fearless in Heels, she is now hiring a publicist that met her at a meeting and loves the idea of her book, okay? So she's got to pay this woman a considerable amount of money to do this and put her out there. So now she's got her newspaper articles. I show you how to do press releases and get yourself in newspapers. 90% of the authors never do it. Why? Why not? Why not take that template and do it? It's easy, right? But they don't do it because here's what happens. Somebody said it earlier. I think it was you, Laura. Was it you in the group? Somebody said it. I'm afraid, like, to put myself out there. What's going to happen? You know, all these doubts start to come up just before you get ready to publish. And when you do, it's like, okay, well, I did it, it's done, but now I don't have to be seen, right, Jenny? I don't have to be seen. So I'm constantly on Jenny's case. She's got a phenomenal book out there. And I'm like, will you promote it? But
she's always on my case.
Yeah. So the promoting starts yesterday.
Now.
Actually, 3 days ago, when you decided to sign up for this, promoting started then. What does promoting mean? It means getting involved in your network and social media and letting people begin to know what you're doing. You know, so every once in a while on my timeline, which is what led me to write this fictional novel, I'll put little adventure stories and I'll make them up and stuff. And people are like, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. So I'm writing a book, right? And then just this last month or so, I put little parts and pieces of what, not word for word of what I'm doing, right? But the concept and idea. And they're like, oh my God, I can't wait to get your book. So you need to create that curiosity and that intrigue, because in marketing today, in these days and ages, people have to see an ad at least a dozen times before they actually stop and pay attention to it. Did you know that? Because you are getting bombarded constantly with advertising all over the place. And there's so much competition. You know, you click on an ad on Facebook and then all of a sudden you have 12 ads of the same type of thing, right? Maybe you wanted to buy shoes, you click on the sneakers or something, and now you got every company in the world shows up. You're getting bombarded with that. Make sense? So if you don't have a fan page or a group or something where you can start putting your message out there, like Hamidou, that's perfect for you because you have two messages now. You have the one with the original idea of what you want to do for your country, but then you have the other one that you talked to me today about the women that are abused. So, you know, there could be two groups actually that develop on those topics. And Angela did that. Angela opened up a group, and you want to share a little bit of how that has grown and your following in there?
Yeah, it was real, you know, I was real hesitant at first because I didn't know how well that was going to go, but I started the group. I started adding people that I thought would relate to whatever I put in there. And I usually do, it's sometimes difficult to get them to engage, but every now and then they'll comment or they'll thank me for whatever I posted. But it's basically me sending out the inspirational thoughts, and I use it from wherever I'm coming from, and I know somebody else is probably experiencing the same thing, and usually they'll be like, thank you for sharing that, I needed that, you know, and that's how I grow my group. It's not about me just trying to bring in a bunch of people in at once. Every now and then I might tell them, well, add more people, you know, this is your all's group, it's not just my group. But basically my group is about inspiration and motivation. So that's what I do in there, and they're happy and content with that. And so when I'm on my regular page, they really comment on the regular page, just my personal page. And so it's like, okay, well, this is working twofold, you know, I don't have to be struggling trying to get this group together, but it does take work and it does take time. So
It takes consistency. You have to be consistent. And what I would like to see you do in that group is actually take, whether it's your short story or your other book or something, and start bringing it in, little stories about it, you know, because those women in there do follow you. A lot of them are in recovery, you know, for abuse or whatever. And that is a way for you to start promoting your book. And that's where you step back too. I watch you step back and you don't do it much. If you're going to write a book, get comfortable yesterday in letting people know what you're excited about. You know, Robin does even little Facebook lives. I love paying attention because she'll start out on her walk and you think she's talking about her walk, and all of a sudden she'll throw a little tidbit into the suspense novel, you know, but she's intriguing people, you know. And then what we do for each other, if you're not friends with each other on Facebook, please become friends with each other, because we're here to support you too. So if somebody is posting something, I'll go in and comment, right, Robin? I'll go comment, you know, because I want to bump your post so other people see it. If nobody's commenting and they're only clicking like, you're not going to build a following. No one's going to listen or pay attention. So this is the other thing our community does for each other, is we help you grow your network. Because Robin has her network, but she doesn't have mine, right? So why not give her some of mine to promote her book? Right? Or Jenny's. I've done it for all the authors. You know, before her book is even out, I'm already pre-promoting her. Did Balboa do that for me? Not even once. Not even once. But it was months before her book is ready to come out, and I'm making little tidbit things. Same with Jenny's. All right. So publishing versus selling, they are two completely different things. So if you don't have the money or want to pay for a publicist and someone who can market you, then start learning all these tips on how to use social media to build basically your business. Once you have a book, it's your business, which leads me to some of the other questions that Laura had, okay? Any questions on this right now? Did I miss anything, Blondie?
No, you didn't miss anything. You covered the whole gamut.
Oh, okay. So then Laura asked about pricing your book. Is that what you're asking, Hamadou? Okay, so pricing your book, basically we look at the size of your book and we estimate what the printing cost is going to be and what the percentages that the platform is taking, because we want you to obviously make some kind of return. Book prices have gone up because printing prices have gone up, and printing prices just jumped again this year, okay? Paper prices have gone up. So the average book now about this size, it has a retail price of about $15.95, where years ago would be $7.99. It's about $15.95. If you wanted to put it on sale, you could. Like I put these ones on sale a lot of times for like $10 or something. I could drop them down to a certain level, but I can't go lower because they have a set fee for everything. So and then you can put it back up. So generally it's about $15.95. Now the manual that we're working on for the educator, his is $49.95 because it's more like a textbook. It's an entire training in there. It's step-by-step education of how to do these techniques. So it's more like a textbook, you know? So it just depends. We had another lady do one all on acupressure, and hers was about, I think, $30. So it just kind of, you know, depends on what you're creating. If you're doing color interior, the price goes up because the printing price is going to go up. Okay? But if you're just writing a story, people don't use color inside. All right, any other questions before I move on? And Sharon, just to let you know, when you complimented me on my beautiful bookcase before, notice I changed it. So these are images that you can get on, you know, go to images, type zoom images, what you want, and you can put them on here so that you can change your image and see what you want. So I did this for you, Sharon, to show you how you can make your house look any way you want. Okay, so she's moving and packing boxes, and I said, yeah, I just moved and have boxes over there. Do you think I want you to see my mess? No. So we put fake backgrounds. It's kind of like a fictional story. You can create whatever you want, right? Okay. All right, I'm going to take a drink. While I'm taking a drink, I want to know down below, or actually come on audio, I prefer that. What tip helped you so far? Nothing's helped you so far?
One thing that is, you know, I found interesting is the breakdown of how much it costs for each component of the book publishing process, because that's always hard for people to wrap their head around. And I share, you know, the idea of working with Gloria all the time. I even shared it today with my appraiser who came to the house.
He called me today.
He's a marvelous young man who wrote a book, and he actually speaks when he goes to speak at a realtor meeting or some meeting about appraising, which is how you value your house before you sell it, or in this case, refinance it, how you prepare your house, things like that. He says there's standing room only. He says one group had to move to a new venue because so many people wanted to hear him speak. And he is just a charming young man. And
He's sweet, yeah.
He said all the right words: abundance, mindset, my dream diary I've been keeping for 10 years. You know, he had all the right buzzwords. He must have thought he was in an alternate universe coming to my house because I speak the same language. But anyway, you have to share that with people because they don't understand.
They don't understand, you know, they get shocked sometimes. That's why I would say you're looking somewhere between about $6,000 and $10,000, depending on what you're creating, to be honest with you. And that includes your editing, your story development, if you're working with me, okay? Your graphic design for the cover, the layout, the proofreader, and all the little extras that I throw in to help you set up your account, to train you in the back office, to actually help you make those banners for your reviews. I mean, I throw a lot of things in there. I hadn't thought about the complete different, yeah. Yeah, it's different. So you're not paying for publishing, you're paying for the services to publish your book. That's what happens. So when you're in the group coaching, those of you that have signed up, congratulations, Pamela. And Sharon's joined us. Sharon has joined us too. When you're ready to publish, because you're already part of our community, you get 15% off the regular publishing prices. Now, if I'm doing a big promo somewhere, you don't get an additional 15%, but you get 15% off because you're part of this group. And basically what you're getting is compensation for what you're paying for the coaching. So you're getting that for free when you think about it. Okay, because it kind of balances out. All right, any other things that were of value? Please tell me. I like to know what value I'm bringing you guys.
Well, for me, I'm so focused on writing. And
To the question.
yeah, so the last thing,
I'm such a brat. I'm tired today. Did it help you though to hear that breakdown and what it's going to cost?
yeah, because I am so focused just on the writing and the coaching and how do I make this paragraph better? And
yeah. So now you have
there
of what's down the road. Okay. And the thing is, when you're working with someone like me, it's all in installment payments. Whereas when I was working with Balboa, I had to pay them upfront in full. You have money sitting there too, don't you, Jenny? What, like $5,000 or so?
I have about I think it's 7,000 actually sitting with Balboa, because like you in the beginning, I didn't know. I had no clue. And the services that they offer were nothing like this.
No.
I had zero support, zero coaching. And so I spent 6 years trying to put a book together. And guess what? It's still sitting there because I received nothing from them to help propel me forward. And then I meet you and I do a short story in a collaborative book. And then I do the 90-day program and coaching. And guess what? Less than 10 months later, I have a book out. I'm a published author. And now, guess who is calling me, hounding me for that book? Balboa Press.
You can say my publisher doesn't take royalties. Are you ready to give up? Yeah.
And that's a big no. And you know what?
Yeah.
And back to what you said originally, they want to charge me just a little bit more.
To take that book.
Yeah. In addition to the 7,000 that I already have, because my book could be a movie.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I know.
Yeah.
And they want me to pay a little bit more so that they can bump it up in a higher bracket, which includes being included in their something in Hollywood and whatever.
And they should be paying you then.
They should be paying me. I have a finished, phenomenal product.
That
and
can
they
be a
still
movie.
want me to pay more money so that they can take my book.
Now, here's the thing with working with someone like me. If a company comes in that's legitimate and wants to work with you like that, I don't have a problem with you going with them because you're an independent author. Now, are they going to change who published your book? Yeah. And then put Balboa versus Powerful Potential? Yeah. But you know what? You pay for my services. That's what you pay for. And I was glad to work with you. The thing is, they should be paying you if they really want that book. You know, if I was you, I would be sending it now into some of these big publishing houses, you know, get an agent or something. Are they going to work on it and change it somewhat and change the cover? Absolutely. That's what they do. But at this point, to put another 10 grand out for them to take your royalties and a big portion of movie rights, that's crazy.
Nope.
A lot of time writing, having on how I was going to publish. Yeah. And how to go with query letters, Robin? Let's talk about that.
You know, I can't talk about query letters because I would cry. I would just cry because everybody wants a different kind of query letter. A query letter is what you write to your agent. And I wrote so many versions of query letters and sent out I mean, I didn't do hundreds like I should have. Although I would not have gotten Gloria's service, I swear it would not have been as good a book. But I think that I thought that was the only way to publish because I did not want to self-publish. You know, I thought an agent's going to take it and go.
And that's what everybody thinks, you know, that big idea, you know. You know, can it happen? I mean, look at what's her name, Rollins with the magical kid, Harry Potter, okay? Can it happen? Yeah, but how many times do you get rejected before it happens, okay? Did she make a lot of money? And yes, and did they make movies? Yes, but they also raped her over the coals if you know her real story, okay? And then they started changing all of her writing once they basically took control of it because they wanted to make it into movies. Is she crying over it? I don't know, but she's got a lot of money right now. But then I heard other things. I don't know. But, you know, getting an agent is not as easy as you think. So readsy.com, if you don't have that website, you should. Let me put that up here. Readsy.com has a list of agents. And these agents are looking for certain types of books at certain times of the year. So you can't just reach out to them because all of a sudden, you know, you want to send them a letter. They're not looking for your book. They're not reading your manuscript. They don't have time because even publishing houses pay people to shred these documents every single day because they don't have time. I did a training with Brian Tracy, who writes a lot of business books, and he is actually the #1 international best-selling author ever, okay? It's business, but he still is. And he does publishing courses and stuff, and he even says, if you're sending randomly your manuscript to these publishing houses thinking they're going to read it, he says, I can tell you firsthand, they have a whole room of shredders where they hire clerks to just shred those manuscripts. And people get upset. I see it in even Facebook groups. I never hear back from these publishers. Like they think, first of all, they're going to hear back right away. Like they're the only manuscript, okay? And when they do hear back, if they're lucky enough to hear back, and they get feedback, it's not good enough, then they get all aggravated. How dare they tell me that my book is good? I've had people come to me like that after agents have said, you got to work on it. And then they send it to me instead of saying it's not good enough or you got to work on it. I go in and say, well, what if you do this? And what if you did that? And how about, and they're like, oh, why didn't they tell me that? Because you're not paying them to tell you that. However, you weren't paying me either. But I gave you that feedback, and then some people do come back and say, I want to hire you, okay? So it's not as easy as you think. And I have found, like in all these authors groups, so many people just, you know, I sent out, 50, query letters, I'm looking, for them to take my manuscript and I want to be a big star. Well, maybe one out there will have that great deal, but it doesn't happen easy. You have to be persistent. Yeah, Laura, I see you. I have a colleague that has children's books. She found an agent 3 years ago. There's nothing done with these books yet. Nothing. Because they're told don't illustrate them because the publishing house will want to do certain illustrations themselves. So you may have the wrong ones. And hiring illustrators is expensive. She's waiting 3 years. So we went and had lunch one day and I said, why don't you self-publish? No, I'm going to wait for this and this. I said, you can self-publish. See, her thought was if she self-published, a publisher won't want her. That's not true. Jenny just showed you that. If they see you have consistent books out there and that you're committed as an author, they are going to watch you and say something. Laura, what did you want to ask?
What is the query letter?
It's a letter that you send out to an agent, basically telling them about, you can go to Readsy, you can get a template there, okay? That basically, you're telling them why they should take your book on to find a publisher. So you have to write it a certain way, like Robin would say, there's different ways to write them. They each have their own way of you putting the information they're looking for. if I went years and years ago in New York City, when I used to live in the Northeast, I went to a workshop. I think I was in my 20s back then. That was a long time ago. And she was an agent and she had published books and all. And I forget how long the workshop is, but by the time I walked out, I was like, so discouraged to ever get an agent because she was realistic about it. Very realistic. And then they take a percentage for their work that they do. So if you want to get your book out there, all right, you want to help people, you have a message out there, then self-publishing is the way to do it. So you don't have to wait 3, 4, 5 years. All right. Self-publishing is going to, yes, cost you some money, but it's going to cost you money either way because you're giving percentages away to everybody. So if you have to give an agent a percentage and then a publisher a percentage, what's left for you, right? So when you take your book and you go to conferences like your friend Robin Brian, you know, he can make a killing off his book at these big conferences, only he has to learn how to write. I read his first chapter. So I'll talk to him about it, but you know, he can get this thing published and he can bring it to all these conferences where there are hundreds and hundreds of people or more. He could do really well. So that's how you leverage your book, just like Zing is doing. You get out into the world. If you're sitting over here and you're not doing anything to quote unquote share your book out there, not sell it, share it, then you're not going to do anything with it. All right. But everybody has a message to put out there. You have a passion and a purpose, like we talked about. And that's why it's important, like we said a few days ago, know your audience, because when you're working with me and Robin had to do this and Jenny, I'm going to ask you, go do some keyword searches on who you think your audience is and what they're looking for. And when you put those keywords in there to find the books, does it bring up the type of books you want? And how are those books ranking and rating? What is your competition out there? Because I want to find something unique in your story that makes you different than everybody else, right? So I had a gentleman who wanted to publish a business book, and he wanted to help wellness coaches and massage therapists and holistic healing arts practitioners. Well, one, he really couldn't write at all, you know, so that was a challenge. And then all he was doing was sending me all the promotional advertisement that his marketing person, you know, puts together and wants it in the book. And I said, everything's the same. Nobody's going to buy your book. Like this, there's no substance. Fortunately for him, I used to teach business to that community. And I had a whole curriculum. I didn't turn it over right away, but then when I was getting frustrated and putting all these hours of coaching and it wasn't going anywhere, I should have charged him for that. But at that point, I was so done with it. I gave him this whole curriculum in this book. People don't usually do that. They'll charge a lot of money for that. The only thing I worked with him at that point was his story that he had to bring in there, which literally we had to pull it out really hard. And the story had to be unique because I said to him, there's gazillions of business books out there. Brian Tracy, #1 international bestseller in business. What's going to stand out? Why are people going to buy your book? So he tells me, we start talking about his story. And I said, so do you know how your story and the core values that you had from a very young age brought you where you are right now? He didn't even know what I was talking about with core values. So once that developed, on his cover, it says core values. And there's only one other business book in the whole sea of business books that even says that when you look for keywords. Now, his market, he's selling lots of books because he's at conferences, he's in trainings, he teaches, so he's got his market. But where's your market? You got to know that. And are you willing, like Zing or other people that are going out there? Like there is a group I just found, Bookish to Travel or something like that. And they're authors that they travel around in their states and they have book festivals and stuff. and artsy things. And so when you look for these, and I know Robin has talked about it, even her own community in Montana, you go and promote yourself and sell your books at these places. And then somebody might say, hey, Robin, would you like to speak at this group we have about your novel? And Robin's like, damn right I will, you know? And so then she could sell more books. Or someone might say, hey, Robin, do you want to teach a workshop to some people at my conference, my retreat, so that they can learn how to do suspense? And she's like, okay. So it gives her another opportunity, and not just to teach or sell her books. But here's what happened last time. Some of those people that were in the first Sedona one, Jenny, with us, they made connections in other ways and places to get their books out. So you have to become visible. You have to get comfortable with that visibility, whatever that means to you. Now, Sharon was thinking, she has a couple ideas, and one of them was the other day, if you saw her excitement, a children's book. Children's books are one of the top books that are wanted out there. For Sharon, we're going to look for an agent, but we're not going to wait 3 years for somebody to publish that book. So we're going to get on Readsy and see if anybody is looking for her type of book, so that when her manuscript is done, maybe the right opportunity is there. But if she's got to wait 3 years to publish this, no way. We'll get it published. We'll work on it together. And I will give her resources to find those venues once I know what her book is about.
And like
Okay.
I just said in the chat, once you do that, I really do feel that you have put yourself ahead of the curve.
Yeah. So Robin asked what sort of keywords. So Robin's got a novel of suspense. So that's generic. But her novel also talks about online dating and trafficking, sex trafficking. All right. And the connections with that and that whole funnel. So she can go in and type novel, suspense, or mystery and see what comes up. There's gazillions of books. But then go and look at, is anything similar to yours? Read their descriptions, because descriptions are very important how you write them, which Robin learned, because when she first wrote her description, there weren't keywords in there. So the keywords that I had to weave into her description were things like online dating, trafficking, okay, suspense, murder, whatever it's going to be. You have to put that in there because that's the keywords people are putting. Book on online dating, okay? Book on sex trafficking, right? So you look at your content of your material. Now, if it's a fictional book, and hers was, there's still a lot of keywords in there. And with Laura, with her channeling, and Hamadou with, you know, the business model he's got, and then the other idea he has, you know, to do something around the women in his country that are abused. There's a lot of things you can do with that, but you have to narrow it down enough that we reach your ideal market. And I work with you on that too. And publishers don't, life coaches do. That's the difference. So when you're working with me, you're not just getting someone that teaches you how to write or helps you publish your book. You're getting a life coach that has, and a business coach, to be honest with you. I've done that for years. That knows what you've got to do, but I can't do it for you. I'm one person. You have to take it and do it from there. Okay? Any questions? Laura, did I answer? Oh, no, I got another question to answer of yours, huh? So Laura, you mentioned the barcode, the number that Amazon gives you. Do not take the free Amazon ISBN numbers, because if you want to get your book into other retail places, they won't use their number. They will tell you that you need to pay for the ISBN number. So in that calculation of things that I was giving you before, I purchased the ISBN number and the barcodes, which cost about $120, okay? That's part of my packaging. The back of your cover does not have an Amazon ISBN. It has one from the company Bowker, who produces these. And so if you want this book in a retail place, it has an authentic ISBN number, not an Amazon one, okay? So do not use them. A lot of people use it because they want to save the $120, but they're limited to just sell on Amazon. Make sense? Any questions on that? Okay, then you asked about copywriting. There's two types of copywriting. Once you publish, you're copyrighted technically. But in the case with Kathy, who's an attorney, she wanted to be copyrighted legally through the Library of Congress. You can do that. You can go do the paperwork yourself. It's not hard. And I forget what they cost. I think it's under $100. It used to be to get it officially copyrighted by the Library of Congress. Most, authors do not do that. But because she's an attorney, because of where she wants to take this book, she's got big plans. She wanted to make sure that everything was done at that level. But the minute you write your book, it's copyrighted once you're publishing it. Now, years ago, they used to tell you, send yourself a copy to yourself in an envelope or whatever, stamped, but don't open it. Years ago, that's what they used to tell you would prove that it's your book and it's copyrighted. How that proves anything, I don't know. But I did it years ago. I did it because someone said do it, okay? So technically, you do not need to put it into the Library of Congress for your copyright. What's that? Could you unmute? Yeah, all rights reserved, yeah. So that's what it says, once you're published. But if you want to go up a notch, then do the other one. Don't buy Amazon ISBN number. I would not have guessed that. Yes, because it's an ASBN, okay? And it's only limited to Amazon, and they don't charge you for it. So people go for it because they're cutting their expenses back. I don't use them, okay? When you publish with me, I buy your code and your barcode. Did I answer all your questions, Laura?
I think so. I think there was as far as business, do you make it like an LLC with your book, or how
It
do you do
depends
that?
on how you're putting yourself out there. If you're putting yourself under a business name, then yes, you should have an LLC. But most authors are putting it under their personal name as sole proprietor. And so you don't really need it. And in the beginning, I don't think any of you guys really need that, okay? Unless it's becoming a business, like the one guy who wrote the business book, Terrence, okay? He has a business LLC, or maybe even a corporation now, I'm not sure. But he's got a whole different agenda where he's promoting what he's doing. If you're just writing 1 or 2 or 3 little books into a spiritual community, I wouldn't think that's necessary. But if you feel safe doing that, then do that. Basically, if your book can bring harm to somebody, then maybe you want some protection, limited liability protection. But I don't think any of you here are bringing harm to anybody. Any other questions?
So if I'm publishing or selling my book as a sole proprietor, how do I handle the taxes for even as a massage therapist in my own practice? I know how that works. How does it work with me, taking these courses, getting the coaching, all the money I'm putting forward, getting the book out there? And how is that different from a sole proprietorship to?
It's the same. It's the same thing. Keep track of all the monies you're spending, because you are putting this towards your authorship, okay? Which is going to bring, some revenue in once you start promoting it, all right? So yeah, it's all business expense per se, all right? But it doesn't mean you have a business. It's expense. It's just like anything when you go for education and all right? Now, when you set up your account, let's say with Amazon with KDP, I say KDP because that's their authorship thing. You're going to put either your social security number in there or your EIN. If you use your EIN, then you are a business, and then you should technically have an LLC, but you could also be a sole proprietor. Okay, So I've researched all this, the way they say to do it, this, that, but most of the responses are just go in as a sole proprietor. You're not a big business person. And then they will 1099 you for any royalties.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when I actually start bringing in money for the book, that's
Most
all.
money from the book is honestly going to come from your individual sales, to be honest with you. You know, unless you're ready to do some big sponsored ads and stuff on there, you know, put them out every month, you know, even if it's a small budget, you know, you're not going to make as much as you think in the beginning because you have to keep promoting. All right. So once your book launches and we get all the excitement going, you know, that'll probably be your biggest check at first, because like I said, most people don't promote anymore. They give up. All right. And every month you will get a direct deposit into your account. But the first time it's 2 months, it's kind of like a delayed paycheck. Okay. And then they will calculate whatever royalties from a print book or the ebook, the Kindle book, and then it'll just deposit. Like sometimes maybe I've got 42 cents, and other times maybe I got $7, and other times I got $90. It just depends. When I do sponsored ads, they do pay off. Okay. People are afraid, oh, I don't have the budget for that. Then what'd you write your book for? Okay. If you put a sponsored ad to spend $5 a day, people go, $5 a day times 3, that's $150 a month. Okay, well, what do you want to make off your book? Okay, and the thing is, a lot of times people won't click on the ad where it really costs you anything because we're smart enough to know that you're going to have to pay for that, but they see your book and then they go and look at it separately and purchase it. But even if they clicked on the ad and the ad cost 50 cents, so what if you had 2 people a day clicking on it and it doesn't add up to $5 a day? So you have to look at it that way too, kind of like when we did the calculation of time and words, it's the same thing. So if you set a budget for $5 a day, which is a low budget, okay? And let's say if you're lucky enough, every day, 3 people click on it and 2 people buy your book. Well, it already pays for your ad because you're making more than $5 back in royalties. You see? So you have to keep the book visible. So sometimes I'll just do like a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or into Tuesday. And I'll do that. And I play around with different things. But when I do the ads, guess what? The royalties go up. So, you know, you want to think down the road, some kind of budget, especially if that's your main way to get your book out. But again, I want to encourage you all to get your books out in other ways, because when you sell your book, okay, so here's the thing. Once your book is published and you get an author's price, it's a cost price. Let's say you're paying $3 for the book, somewhere in that vicinity. You purchase your author's books, let's say at $3 each. It's a bargain, right? Plus your shipping. So let's say your book is $15, right? And you're paying $3, and we'll put $1 on for, you know, shipping. So that's $4 a book. So your profit's what? $11 versus a couple of dollars with Amazon. So that's why I encourage you to sell your books. You have a bigger profit margin. You could even sell that book a little cheaper and still make more than you're going to get on Amazon. Or you could do what Jenny does and give them away to everybody for free. Okay, yes, save every single receipt. That's right. So Hamadou is asking, are website creation and logo design part of your service you're providing? No, but I have people. Can I teach you, which I did with Jenny? She hired me for a couple hours. I don't charge those fees, but it's not what I want to do, okay? But I know how to, if you look at my Powerful Potential website, I do everything in there. All the retreats, everything. And then I have my Gloria Coppola one, which I have ignored for a while. So my front page is not really done. But if you go into retreats, you will see all of that's created by me. So I do have those skill sets and I can direct you how to do it, but I don't really want to do it. Okay. As far as logo and design, no, you hire people for that. Like my new design that's out there with the books and my name and unlock your imagination. I saw somebody on Facebook and hired her and told her my colors and what I really wanted. And she wasn't expensive. Okay. Now it depends on what you want for a logo. And can you do logos yourself? There's programs out there. Sure. And it doesn't really cost much. So, but branding yourself is a little different. And let's talk about that. So branding is something you want to become identifiable, that if someone sees it, like that little circle for powerful potential with the book in, if you notice, it's on a lot of my stuff. But now I'm switching it to Gloria Coppola, story development coach, when I'm doing these trainings. But that logo, people notice it's like, oh, there she is again. There's that lady that does the publishing, you know? So that's your branding. What image do you want? What colors do you want? What do you want to say really quick, and keep consistent with that? You want a Ducati. Yeah, but is that going to give a long-term message in your branding for other things you do? So see, when I did the book, the publishing, it could mean I'm publishing or helping you write your book, right? And then when I went to the one with my name, it's still about books and story development coaching. Only I'm narrowing that in for that particular thing versus all the publishing, because I love the story development. That's where I have the most fun, okay? But my colors are the same. I didn't go off with the colors very much, but the design's a little different to catch attention. So that's what you need to do. So wherever you're looking at your business going in your, whether it's a business or your books, it's got to give a quick message. If you look at my Facebook banner and you see those books in my name, Gloria does books, right? Gloria does books. You see the logo for Powerful Potential. Oh, Gloria has that company that does books. So they're slightly different, but they both have books. You see what I'm saying? Because that's the business. You'll keep both logos? Yes, yes. Because I'm going to use the Powerful Potential more towards publishing in general, but story development, like when I'm doing these trainings and stuff, that I like to work with story development and crafting stories, then that's my zeroed in logo. Okay, the other one involves the whole team. Okay. Any other questions, comments? What's been helping you? What aha moment did you have today?
It's all been an aha moment. I wouldn't have known any of this, so I'm glad I hopped in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a whole different world, and there's just subsections. It's not all just one big.
No, it's like when you went to massage school, okay? First you went and got a degree in college, and then you decided to go to massage school. So you got higher education, and then you focused on something else that you figured would bring you passion. But then you learned massage. But then for massage, what happened? You learned myofascial release. You did, you know, it's those subsections of everything, and it narrowed your parameters of your expertise. It's the same thing with this. And so when you think about taking continuing education classes, this is a continuing education class towards your writing. It's the same thing. Hamadou, any other questions? Sharon, Laura?
So when do you have to, as I'm writing my book, when do I start thinking about this stuff?
Yesterday. Do you remember last year when you group coaching and I was playing around with covers for you, and I'm not even professional, and I was playing around with covers for you? Remember that? There's a reason. Do you know what that is?
To get me to finish the book.
It gets you excited. So the first thing, you know, once you say to me, Gloria, I really do want to publish my book. Okay. I know that I want it done by this date, and by the summer, I want to move into publishing. Okay. One of the first things we're going to do after, you know, while the editor and stuff is doing, we're going to create your cover. Just like I have Candy creating mine right now, even though I don't have the book completely done. The minute she sent me some samples, I got so excited, I started finishing my book. So see, it's a motivator. All right. It becomes real. So that's usually one of the first things. Once we have your story and you know the direction of it, we go for the cover, because that's going to kick your butt in gear and say, oh my goodness, I really dived into this. This is real. And you do cover reveals, just like Robin has done. She did it with the first cover, but then we did it with the new cover. We did cover reveals, even though her book wasn't published yet, because it's teasers along the way. As soon as Candy gets done with mine, you know you're going to be seeing my cover out there, okay? It only means I got to work a little faster. Okay? But that's good. It's kind of like those deadlines. I got to have these deadlines. Well, that one's smack in front of your face, and it's exciting. And then Jenny, Angela, what's it like, Robin, to hold your book for the first time and see it, even if it's a proof? What's it like?
It's like, it's about damn time.
About damn time.
Yeah, that's about it. It's like, why have I waited so long? Here it is.
Yes, exactly, Robin. Yeah.
It actually was, I mean, I cried, I screamed, I was excited, to actually have my name and all that, it's just a surreal moment. And the amount of excitement that you have, your hard work, everything that you did, and here it is, the proof. It's just not the cover you're putting on Facebook to try to get people interested. You've got it in your hand. It's real.
Yeah, I remember the first time I got my first book, I was shaking and crying, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like really happening. Yeah, it's really powerful. I equate it to having a baby. All right. That wait 9 months for this baby to be born, and you go through blood, sweat, and tears, right? And worry, and oh my God, is the child going to be healthy, and all these different things, right? And then all of a sudden you're holding your baby and you're like, oh my God, I created this, right? Same thing with a book. Same exact thing with the book. And it is so satisfying. And there's a sense of accomplishment that runs, ladies, let me know, anybody, if you felt this, there's a sense of accomplishment that you're like Robin said, why did I wait so long? That takes you into a different frequency and level of even who you are in this world. Because it's a big leap to publish your book. That's why most people don't do it. You're going to go through transformations that you don't even realize yet. You don't even, Jenny's like, Angela, could you put your cover up again? I want to show you what a custom design really looks like when it is professionally done. That was done by Candy, okay? And yeah, but the front is gorgeous. I love that, So she captured that in the cover. It's crisp, it's clear, it sends the message, it's not just a generic graphic out there. Thank you. So even when, Jenny is the same thing. And Robin, you don't have the new one yet. We got to get you proof. It's not just one graphic thrown up there. And if I could only get Candy to do covers, I'll tell you, I'd be so happy. Because I know the layouts take too long, but the other girl loves the layout. So I'm like praying, maybe I can get her back, because her quality is unbelievable, but she's more expensive because of that quality. So you just have to decide what you want. You have to decide what you want. Okay, throw me out a few more questions, anybody? Okay.
Have you talked about ebooks?
Ebooks, what do you want me to tell you about ebooks?
Is it better to have a book in print or an ebook?
Okay, so here's how I feel about ebooks. Personally, I don't read ebooks. I'm not a Kindle person, but I know a lot of people are. What I don't like about Kindle books on Amazon, you make no money as an author, and that is the biggest ripoff there's ever been, because they're so low priced. Like when people say they go #1 bestseller, the first thing I do is I go look to see, is it Kindle or is it print? And 99% of the time it is Kindle, because they're selling the book for nothing or 99 cents. And if you have Amazon Prime, you don't have to pay for it, which means who's made the money? Amazon did when you pay for Prime membership, right? They don't care. They don't have to print anything. There's no cost to them. So the authors are not really making anything on those books. And the other thing that Amazon does, you can price it higher, right? They'll lower it. They don't even tell you they're going to lower the price, and they will lower it because most ebooks, most Kindle books are very, very low price. And that's why people release them first and say, I'm a #1 bestseller. I never, ever have released a Kindle first. Every book that has reached #1 bestseller through us has been a print copy book. We put up Kindle afterwards, just because some people want it. Now, what's the advantage of having it if you make no money? Well, you're going to hope that they love it enough that they buy the print book. And about 50% of the people do. They want the print book in hand too. Okay, but there's not a lot of money in there. And then Sharon asked, what about Audible, audiobooks? Audiobooks are hot. They're really hot. People like, I love audiobooks because I'm reading all day long. The last thing I want to do is read another book. All right. But you have to have it done professionally. And if you're going to do it yourself, you better have a really good voice and sound microphone and soundproofing and all. I took classes on this too, believe it or not, because people have said to me, you have such a good voice. I want you to read my book. I'm like, let me see what the costs are. Okay. You know, so basically you're going to hire somebody. Now I do know somebody, a former student of mine, that did her own, and I don't remember the name of her book, and she did a really good job because she's theatrical. You know, she really made that book come alive. She has got it down, but you're going to want to hire somebody for it. Now, is there money in it? Then that's another thing. When I was in the training, there's not big money in the Audible books for the author, but there's money. And then you hope that they buy the book. And typically I will, because I'll tell you why, because I know the author's not making enough money. So I buy the book too. That's me. No Audible book being weekly. Yeah. So yeah, if you have animals, yeah, and you're doing it in your home, no, you need to be in a sound studio or a room that is set up to be a sound studio. I love Audible. I have it on my phone. I plug it in my car when I'm driving. I love it. And it's the way that I get introduced to authors too. Usually the first time is through an Audible book. They're hot. People want them. What other questions? Sharon, you got any other questions? Anybody else?
So
Yeah.
I noticed when you
Go after
promote
her.
on Facebook and the Facebook groups, I get about at least 6 notifications of your posting for each group. Should we do that for our page? That I created a page already for my being an author. Is that something?
You've got to be consistent. Now, here's the hardest thing for me is I don't like to bother people and hound them. But every business training I take, every marketing training I take, they're like, you better, Gloria, because someone else is going to pop up and they're going to forget about you. And it happens. Even newsletters, I hate to send more than one a month. I just got slammed again by one of my coaches. She said, you better start sending at least 2 or 3 out a week. Well, the first thing is it takes time, and I complain about time. Well, how can I complain about time? I just taught you how to do time, right? So it's like, okay, I have to commit to doing this more frequently. And she did a great training last week. And she said, and if you're worried about them unsubscribing, so what? You don't want them. They're not your people. They're not interested in your information. She says, the people that are interested in your information are going to go, oh, I want that one today. Finally, she did something for me. You know, so you have to be willing to do that. It's the hardest, trust me, it's the hardest thing to get over for me and a lot of other people, to be that consistent on social media. The one that I have to get in and pay more attention to is LinkedIn. And I'll tell you why. Because my audience really is not, the bigger audience is not found on Facebook. I need business professionals, coaches and entrepreneurs that aren't going to want to nickel and dime every little thing and say, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. That's not my market. Okay. I can work at a higher level, and I know this. And even my coach said, why aren't you on LinkedIn? Well, I am. But you know what? It's just easier to pop in on Facebook than LinkedIn because you have to be involved differently. But I need to make that commitment for my business. So you got to decide, where do you start out? Where is it easiest for you? Where are you most comfortable with? And go with that. Now, here's the other thing people don't realize. There are so many groups out there for authors. If you're not in them, get in them, because the majority of them have an opportunity for you to post your books. And I'm in them, and I see them posting books like once a week, and I don't see any of my authors that are in those groups posting their books, and I won't mention names, okay? So you have this opportunity to be visible, and you probably say to yourself, oh, I already posted it. So what? They have like 5,000 people or 30,000 people that didn't see it on the day that you posted it. You have to be consistent. So what if you posted 100 times? So what? It's just like, you know, when you're sending out a newsletter or something, and you send out hundreds or thousands or whatever, and you look at how many people open it. Do you know how hard it is to get 50% of the people to open your newsletters? If you get 25%, you're doing good. The ones that I just sent out this past week, do you know they were all over 50%? I was like, wow, maybe I keep doing this, you know? And if you noticed, my images, I started playing with my images, didn't I? I had ice cream cone, I have motorcycle. Why? Because if I keep putting a book, they're going to say, it's just her and her books again. Oh, ice cream, I like ice cream. And so I created something around flavors, okay? Then I put the motorcycle person, right? So you have to learn how to grab attention to people, from people. So 50%, I'm happy with that. Like, wow. Because most people tell me they get about 20% on the average, 20% open. But that's still good. It's not 2%. So if you don't have an author's fan page, you need one. If you have one, I want you to share it in the group so that all of you become followers of each other. Comment, ask about how they're doing on the book, okay? You start helping each other. This is what an authors and writers community is about. This is what I love to promote with you guys, helping each other. Yeah, but put it in the group, Jenny, so they can just click on it and get to it, okay? So you want to make things easy for people. And if you haven't shared your author's fan page yet on your main timeline, you need to do that too, because you need to get people over there. And do you ask people to share? Start asking for help. It's the hardest thing for me to do, is ask for help. So getting locked out of the page last night, I was like, Pam jumped right in. I'll help you. I'm like, okay, I'll take the help. Jenny got a hold of me. What do you need me to do? I'm like, okay, here, could you post it? And then Angela, and then and I'm like, oh my God, thank you guys. I'm not used to asking or receiving help. But I have to tell you, when this team came in to help in that group, that meant more to me than probably anything that ever happened in my life when it came to I'm going to cry, you know, a team coming in to say, you've helped me, we have to help you. That's what community is about. Okay, that's what we're building here. So Pam says, I just removed hundreds of people off my personal face. Yeah, I moved last year after I was sick, I removed 3,000 people. 3,000 people. You know why? They weren't my people. They weren't my people. And as a result of being in business trainings and other trainings, retreat trainings, because I do retreats every year, a couple of them, these people come and request me. I hardly ever request anybody. Okay. They come and request me, and I open up a conversation because I want to know why. If they're just selling me the latest facial stuff, I'm not interested. Okay. But these are business entrepreneurs looking to publish their books. And it's how I found Robin. Robin and I were in a business coaching together. That's how we found each other. You know, because I had the opportunity to share in that group. So you've got to start putting yourself out in different places, and don't wait for your book, okay? Get to know people now. Build your community. All right, any other questions? How about you, Laura? You've been quiet tonight.
Actually, that's a good question. Well, that's a good thing that you had mentioned that, because like my Facebook, I just have people who don't engage. Like, how do you
Get
know?
rid of them. Get rid of them. Don't feel bad.
Yeah.
So here's
How do you know which ones are actually, I mean, I know repetitively they are, but how do you know? Because some of them are looking, but they're just not responding. You know what I mean? They're just.
So here's how you
backwards
learn. You know all
yeah.
these stupid, funny things that people post on Facebook and you sit there and go, really? Everybody's responding to this? Do that and see who's paying attention. There was a gal that was in a company that I was involved in for health and wellness, and she was putting all this testimonial stuff and everything, and nobody was paying attention. 1 or 2 people would click like. She goes, nobody responds. They're not listening. I said, would you listen to me for a change? You know, would you do something I suggest? I suggested doing something like that. Her post went off like crazy. She got home and she goes, oh my God, they are watching me. Yes, they are. But how are you reaching them is the question.
Hmm.
How are you reaching them? So if you want to know they're out there and really seeing you, like I didn't even post yet last night about the Facebook gel to get that kind of response. That stupid post all day is going off like crazy. And every once in a while, I will comment to it. Why? To bump it for the people that are watching at a different time of the day. Don't answer everybody at the same time. You want to answer it at different times of the day so it rebumps up, okay? So I'm sitting here going, huh? So then I'm like, Jenny and I are talking. She goes, you know, you can really use this to your advantage, you know, because now turn it around. Number one, you gals came in to help and support everybody. That was beautiful. And then it's like, well, if I mention this and people know my writing group is down, well, more people begin to realize, oh, that's right. She does that, doesn't she? Oh, I didn't know she did that. I have somebody to tell. So a silly, stupid post about me closing down, getting closed down and going into jail is still going off all day long since I think last night or this morning I put it up. I don't even know. Yes, the blessing in disguise. Shall we create a new Facebook page or our usual page? Your personal timeline is not a fan page. A fan page is like a business page. So you set it up completely different than your personal timeline. And if you need help with that and you don't have anybody, just let me know, Hamadou. One of us can help you or I can, okay? All right, so it's 9 o'clock. You know what happens? What happens? Wine? She's out. So I have been paying attention to who has been on here every single day, who has been participating in the group, not only commenting in there, but writing their own stuff in there, and maybe even commenting on other people's stuff. So participation on all levels. And the person that is going to win the 2 coaching sessions with me, can anybody guess? Anybody have an idea? It doesn't go to the authors that have been here, so let's narrow it down. Laura, yes, Angela got it. Laura wins the 2 coaching sessions with me. So that means your first 2 chapters will be sent to me. We'll go over this, and then I will be writing a whole bunch of stuff on it, so don't get insulted, okay? I'm going to help develop it, you know, like Jenny said, now take your channeling and put it into words people can understand, and then we will have a one-on-one. But I also have another person that's been on here all week long. She's going to get a consolation prize. Do you know who that is? Blondie. Blondie's been here all week long, asking tons of questions, participating. So you're going to get a little box of goodies and books and a cup and tea and everything else, so that while you're writing and reading, you could remember us, okay, and have fun. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So just message me, ladies. Well, Laura, you don't have to give me a shipping address, but I do need one from you, Blondie, a shipping address. Okay.
Okay.
Where do you, by the way, Florida?
Yes.
Okay, that'll be easy. I was going, oh, I should have asked if she's in this country. Okay, so we have several new people in the group coaching. If anybody's interested in the collaborative stories, let me know about that. Okay, if I was in the group, I'd have more information, but let me know and we can get you set up with that. Hamadou, I think that would be a great option for you to get your feet wet in writing. Okay. Laura, hope to see you in the group program because I think you're ready for that, to take that leap. So hopefully, you know, you make that leap. Jenny's going,
Yeah.
Remember,
I'm like waiting for it to, yeah. It's definitely in the works.
okay, well, keep this in mind. Right now, you got to save
Mhm.
$1,000. It is not going down that low ever again. And we will not be getting all these extra bonuses that I threw in, like a whole webinar on publishing and this and that, and the extra editor that reviews your things. You guys got a lot in this package. So whoever is thinking about it, whether you're here tonight or on the recording, jump on it before April 3rd, because that's your window of opportunity. Because even Sharon was going to wait till the next time. She tells me that every time. This is her 4th virtual retreat. Next time, I said, Sharon, it's never going to be cheaper. Don't wait. Okay. So just do it. Jump into it. You have a message out in the world. Get it out. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I would thank you, Blondie. I would like you all to go around, including our authors, because they always learn. I'm glad you jumped in, Sharon. I want to see what you're going to write. I really do. Tell me what's been most valuable for you. You had 4 days of a lot of information.
You know, it's not one thing, but it's many things, because you don't hear it the first time. I mean,
Nope.
I don't hear it the first time. So I actually learned quite a bit in these sessions of things that I just didn't quite get, but now I do. I have a little more understanding of them. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that, because it's so true, especially when you're already in a writing process. You know, you're in a different agenda. And I know that when people work with me, I send out PDFs for different things. I'm always giving information, and I hold your hand because I know you're not going to remember what I told you a month ago. So yeah, it takes multiple times to hear things. Thanks, Robin. Who else? Let's hear from all of you.
What was most helpful to me was hearing everybody's story, where they're at, where they're struggling, learning from the questions that they have, because I have the same question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and welcome back. Laura, what helped you?
I think it all is very helpful. It's very because you kind of have a better like perspective about it, like writing from the beginning to the end, like what's all involved throughout the whole process. But it's also good to see, you know, other people's, you know, journey through it too. And I'm not the only one that's been sitting on my book for a long time. So,
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, we're not guaranteed tomorrows. That's why I'm the type of person that has learned in life, just say yes. You know, and even in my life coaching, Angela knows this. This is why Angela's made such amazing transformation. And she would like, just say yes, just say yes. And what happens every time you say yes, right? You heal another part of yourself.
yeah, I find that too, like whenever I'm writing, like something like, aha, that makes sense. And it's like healing. For me
Yes.
too. It's like, oh, okay, so I get it. Because it's
Like, I would love to dive
Yeah.
into what you're actually, I mean, I saw the little bit because I can read it. I can't comment. I would dive into the information you're bringing in and see how we can bring that message to the world.
Yeah. So I'm definitely, it wasn't, I never thought I would be writing. It was never my idea. That it actually came to me. And that's in the story, like how it came to me. And I'm like, put pressure on me. Why don't you? Like,
Hey, that's how diamonds are made, right?
you know, and I think putting that pressure on me kind of like made me like, not
So
do it.
Sharon's got, because she's in the process of moving, she just posted, she's got some internet issues, but she really loved the development tips, the strategy, and the group interaction. Group interaction is amazing. Yeah. Blondie, you had your hand up ready to say something.
Well, I must say that I'm impressed with with you and how you just give so much to your authors. And this is something that I have strived to do in the work that I do, is to help make the authors better, and so that they can present a quality product into the marketplace. And that right there is what grabbed my heart. And you also confirmed for me that the track that I've been on to always try to make the authors look better, to produce a better product, even though you're first timer, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to produce something that is going to be an embarrassment to you.
No, the first time is a growth period for everybody. It's not going to be your best work, but it's going to be better than what you do on your own. That's how I see it. Yeah. Thank you, Blondie. Thank you for being here as a fellow colleague and author and publisher. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You never get too beside yourself that you can't learn something from someone else.
Well, that's why when I found out and I messaged her, I'm like, you didn't tell us you do publish. She goes, oh, I'm here to learn. I'm in courses like this all the time, just like you, Blondie. I take everybody's courses because I'm like, okay. And like Robin said, you have to hear it more than once. And then the validation, like you just brought up, that's so important too, because we all have imposter syndrome every once in a while. And there's this one young girl doing some trainings that started to pop up on Facebook because she did sponsored ads and stuff. And she's very young. And I was listening, and I'm like, okay, learn something from her. And then I started one of her trainings and I couldn't get through 10 minutes. I was like, that's it. So I commend her for stepping into her gift and what she wants to do, because we all have a starting point. But she wasn't going to be the one that can hold my interest, So I was like, no, good luck, so I won't be on her mailing list anymore.
I stayed with you all this time, and I came in and I stayed the whole time.
I know. I was surprised that you did, especially today. I was like, is she going to come today?
So that's huge. I don't spend time unless it's valuable.
Well, I'm like you, so thank you. We really should talk, because maybe there's some collaboration we could do. I've been talking to some other author publishers out there like us, and we could all be doing something to help each other. Like you focus more on, the Christian spirituality and all. I get a combination of things, and although I started out with the spiritual transformational stuff, it's kind of gone all over the place, which is kind of fun, like me, because I go all over the place. But you have a niche. You have a niche, and maybe there's a way we can help each other.
Okay, thank you.
Talk one day. When is Jenny writing the next book? Everybody's been asking her that. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Once you write your first one, you need to write your second one, especially when it's a book similar to Jenny's or anybody's like Robin's, where it's people are waiting for, what do they do now? Where's that character going next? Is she going to come out with another book similar? You got to do it. Otherwise, just like in marketing, where I said the next person pops up, they're off. They forgot you. They forgot you. So, when you put that kind of effort into something, don't just publish one book. Make sure that you have a plan, in a year at least, that you have something else to put out there. And Angela's working on her journal. So she's working on her next project. That's her third project. So she's hoping to get that done by end of the summer? Okay. And Hamadou, when are we going to get you to write?
Hello?
Yeah. When are you going to start publishing your work? When are you going to put yours together?
Right, but I think the sooner the better, because I have already written some parts, and thanks to this participation, I think I have been in a position where I can put them together, and I think shortly I will come back to you with some drafts.
Okay, we'd love to see it. And, connect with Angela if you need input on, the whole topic of the women and the abuse that's going on in Africa. I'm sure you don't mind, right, Angela? And Blondie, don't you have a similar kind of background story with?
Mine at all.
Yes, and I happen to have a contact related to the orphans in Kenya as well,
There you go.
and the abuse that's going on with the children there.
So Hamidou, connect with Blondie. I don't know if his internet's going in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yes, noted, you know. Can I have your email or?
Yeah, connect in Facebook Messenger, you two, or become friends or something, okay?
Yeah.
All right, no problem.
All right. Okay, so thank you, everybody. And for those that are continuing the journey, as soon as I get that group back, we will be working in there and we'll remove the people that are not part of the training. And Laura, you're going to get in touch with me because we're going to start working on your first chapter immediately. And Sharon, right after you move, you get in touch with me and we'll get you set up with all the prep, okay? And everybody else, remember Robin's book is coming out next month, Out of the Darkness. Please support her, share it on your timeline and purchase a copy. And the one thing that is so crucial that people got, sometimes you got to pull them. The reviews are crucial, not just it was a good book. Why was it a good book? Because people that are looking at those reviews want to know why they should buy it. So don't just say, hey, congratulations, that was really good. I loved it. That's not a review. That's a kudos. That's a clapping of the hands. Okay. So make sure that you go and review Jenny's book and Angela's book and Robin's book. And then all of these people that are going to publish their books this year, go give them a wonderful review. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And God bless you all on your journey.
Thank you.
You're welcome.